Tuwing alas 6 ng gabi ng Lunes, no, hayaan niyo pong dalhin ko kayo sa mundo ng mga arkitekto katulad ko, sa mundo ng malikhaing paggawa.
Welcome to Peaceabilities here in cbrc.tv. Arman Benko po ang inyong lingkod.
Kailangan po natin kumita-kita muna ng additional na income, and wala naman pong income na dumadating ng wala kang ginagawa.
Welcome to Legal Helpline Online, kung saan sasagutin ng ating legal expert ang inyong mga katanungan na may kinalaman sa legalities.
Lahat tayo, regardless of our status, whether we are an employer or an employee, kailangan sundin natin ang mga health guidelines.
Welcome to CBRC TV with Tuesdays with Cory.
Welcome to the RJ Ledesma podcast. I am RJ Ledesma.
Magandang araw Pilipinas, magandang araw online world. I am Jel Miranda and you're watching Expert Talk Online.
Good evening, my name is Roda Castro Caliwara.
I'm Arman Gutierrez.
And this is Pulse Connect. Buzz,
Peace,
and beyond.
Mabuhay sambayan ng Pilipino. Ang wika, kultura at kasaysayan ay mga gintong sagisag ng ating pagka-Pilipino. Ito po ang Kasaysayan, programang tatalakay sa iba't ibang aral ng ating bayan.
Good afternoon, Father Ben.
Good afternoon, Sarah. Magandang hapon sa lahat ng nakikinig.
At sa ating mga televiewers na gustong matuto ng mga livelihood programs at sa mga entrepreneurship skills na isi-share ng ating mga guests today.
We're gonna talk about frontliners, nurse stories during the pandemic.
We are going back to the glory days of nursing. In demand ang nurses ngayon, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, kundi all over the country.
May mga tanong ka ba tungkol sa inyong pinag-aralan?
Bibigyang linaw namin at aming ikaw ay tutulungan.
Dahil assignment mo,
sagot ko.
This is Ready 101 and I'm your resilience partner. This is Martin Aguda Jr. Join us guys every Thursday night, 8 p.m.
Mula sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao.
Welcome to cbrc.tv, Biyaheng Lokal.
Ngayong gabi, marami tayong pag-uusapan. Interesting? Feel free to join us, message us, and we will try our best to answer your questions.
Hello there! Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. This is Simply Becky Mon, ang programa po sa cbrc.tv kung saan pag-uusapan natin ang mga kwentong buhay-buhay nyo.
This is Jeff Chua, your host for Find Your Greatness. And we are so privileged to have Find Your Greatness, the Cycle House podcast show, to be part of the lineup of programs of CBRC.
Alam po natin na itong talakayan na to ay napakaganda dahil ang real estate industry is isa sa mga industriya na napakagandang pagtuunan ng pansin.
Sa ngalan ng Ama, na Anak, na Espiritu Santo.
Amen.
Diyan ating Panginoong Jesucristo, ang pag-ibig ng Diyos Ama, ang liwanag ng Espiritu Santo, naway sumain niyong lahat.
At sumaiyo rin.
Good day, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Welcome to Anyone Can Cook with Chef Cherry
and Sir Chef.
Mabuhay po tayo mga Pilipino. Sa panahon po ng pandemya, kailangan po nating mag-unwind at maging masaya dahil tayo po ang gagawa ng ating ikaliligaya.
Hi, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Carl Balita and welcome to Bridges. Ito po ang bagong program ng cbrc.tv. Siyempre po sa pakikipag-ugnayan at pakikipagtulungan hatid sa inyo ng UST Alumni Association.
I'm so good. I feel so good. Magandang gabi, Carl. At magandang gabi rin sa ating mga viewers.
Ito ang bagong show ng cbrc.tv. It's called Entertainment, Jamming, Kwentuhan, and Kantahan.
Welcome to Bridges here at CBRC.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world. This is Evelyn Sonko, your host, and together with me is Claude Despo Veladera. Claude, hello,
Hello.
Claude.
Hello again, Professor Evelyn Sonko. Thank you very much for having me for the second straight week. I'm happy to see you again. And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on cbrc.tv.
How are you, Claude?
Ma'am, I'm good. I've been looking forward to this episode. I enjoyed last week, and I'm excited to be part of this again. And since this is Christmas time, it is the time of the year when we're more mindful of family togetherness, and it's not just because of the pandemic, but really with or without the pandemic, we're more mindful of family togetherness and traditions and all that. That's why I like this episode, and I like talking about families, particularly this time. Yun pa.
Yeah, I like that. I like that also. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, actually, Claude, kahit na excited tayo, before we introduce our guest tonight, I'd like to thank the Atelier Alumni Association for sponsoring this show. Thank you very much, Miss Marie Pe Yang. Thank you. Yes, Claude, you may introduce our guest.
Yes, ma'am. Our guest for tonight is Miss Maria Rovile Labrador Caingat. She graduated from the UST College of Education, took up law at San Sebastian College, took her postgraduate school in Asian Studies at EWHA Women's University in Seoul, South Korea, obtained her MA in Supervision Instruction from DLSU Manila, and obtained units as well in Master of Public Governance from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Ms. Caingat became Associate Graft and Corruption Investigation Officer of Ombudsman and Executive Assistant of the Office of the Chairman of the National Commission of the Culture and the Arts. She is now the school head and chief administrator of the Integrated Jubilation Montessori School of Binyan, Laguna. So let's all put our hands together for Miss Rovil. Hi, Miss Rovil.
Hi.
She is coming in.
Hi. Oh, it's so good to see you again. I'm so good. Hi. Thank you for that, Claude. Thank you. Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, ma'am. It's a pleasure,
Hello.
and I'm here. Magandang gabi, magandang umaga, magandang hapon sa lahat ng ating tagapanood sa buong mundo. I've learned from you guys, from Ma'am Sonko, that this is a worldwide show. Of course, it is in the net. So, and not only the Thomasians are watching this. So, magmuli, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon.
Oh, thank you very much, Rovil, for being able to come to join us today, no? And I'm really very interested.
It's my honor po.
You have a lot of experiences already, and you graduated from, I heard it, no? You graduated from UST College of Education, you became a teacher, and then you left teaching. And then now you're back to education. You're back to teaching. I'm really interested to know why you engaged in education again.
Oh, okay po. To begin with, I want to mention that I also graduated high school from the University of Santo Tomas. So, EHS fan po ako. Just a quick shout out lang po ng mga batchmates sa EHS. Your question is about why I am back in the world of education, ma'am, right? Because after teaching my first degree, utilizing my first degree as a teacher, and then I went to the world of College of Law, and then using the law degree, I was able to work as an associate graft and corruption investigation officer at the Office of the Ombudsman, Deputy Ombudsman for Luzon. And then later on, I was pulled out from there by my mom, so I could. Somebody thought that I could help her during the time that she was Department of Education Undersecretary, and at the same time, NCCA Commissioner or National Culture for Commission in the Arts. After which time that she retired, and then she was kind of this passion of hers that has been uh, within her for more than 4 decades has what do you call this blossomed into her act of entering into partnerships with fellow retirees of fellow retired educators. That's why they were able to come up with a school, a corporation of schools, and with which my mom and myself is a member of. And so from there, I am now 10 years a school head as well as a chief administrator of the school in Binyan. Thank you for mentioning, Sir Claude. And we also have a school in Cavite as well. But in a nutshell, bakit ako bumalik sa mundo ng edukasyon, ma'am? Sapagkat ako ay isang guro. Yun lang ang that's the most important answer to that question, because hindi lang si mama, hindi lamang yung pamana na binigay niya sa akin bilang educator, kundi sa akin pong din puso, I'm an educator. But to begin formally, my what do you call this? An extension of that answer to clarify things. Okay, it would be properly addressed. Your question would be properly addressed by mentioning the word pamana, because that is the topic of our show today: heritage, pamana. Or simply point, inherited property, which the passing of time has evolved into what we call heritage, both tangible or intangible. So in my case, the heritage from my mom are both, I can, what is something that I cherish is not only the tangible pamana, heritage, but most especially the intangible pamana or heritage from her legacy, which are values related not only to family building, but most especially for the love for teaching and the love for continuous learning. So that would be used as a collective, a collection of all the values received as pamana or heritage po. Yun po. Kaya yun po ang aking dahilan kung bakit ako nasa mundo na naman ng edukasyon.
So, kaya nga,
yes po.
No?
And continue, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Parang ipinamana sa'yo ng iyong magulang, ng iyong mother, yung iyong pagtuturo. It's really passed on from generation to generation. Parang naging tradisyon ninyo ang pagtuturo. Yes. Tapos from her generation and maybe the generation before her, nagtuturo kayong lahat. Okay? Tama? So yun talaga yung pamana.
Yes, ma'am.
Yung heritage. Alright. So, yeah,
yun po. Kasi po si mama, my mom is, sa mga siblings po niya, siya lang yung teacher. Sa akin din, in my case, we are three in the I have two other siblings, or we are three, my brothers. Sa aming tatlo po, ako lang po yung guro. I'm the only teacher. So, this is probably the main reason why here again, in the world of education, and I cherish this heritage that I received from my mom. Her being 4 decades, yung dedication niya po sa pagtuturo at sa administrasyon ng edukasyon ng bayang ito, yan, hanggang sa siya'y pumanaw na po. So that's basically it. And I also add, ma'am, that going back to to your question again, the family heritage in our case, in our story, is, I just want to point out that it is my mother's strong influence to me as an educator. It is not merely verbal, yung hindi lang yung basta sinasabi, which all parents do, right? All parents say valuable things to children. But gusto ko lang po i-emphasize that my mother and I has a tradition uniquely sa aming dalawa, which we value most, which is not to take things for granted, and keep it recorded strictly in, kailangan nakasulat, at hindi lang verbally sinasabi, kailangan ginagawa. So kung ano man yung heritage na natatanggap namin, we don't only hear it verbally, but we see it by example. And she has shown all her life is the very essence of her heritage is yung examples that she has lived and shown sa aming mga anak niya. Hindi lang po sa amin, sa mga anak niya po, sa DepEd, mga guro, mga principal, at lahat po ng kasamahan niya sa kagawaran. Yung kanya pong hindi lang mere, vocalization of values, but pagsasabuhay and showing by example. Kung yun yung para sa akin yung intangible, yung mas significant na intangible heritage that can be passed on to children.
Yeah. Claude, you want to say something?
Go ahead, man.
Yes. Yeah, it's tama, Miss Rovil. It's one thing to hear it from a family member telling it, trying to impart to you a value or a lesson. But it's stronger when it's a stronger reinforcement when you see it. Your parents,
when it's shown,
they walk the talk, right? Yeah. So
yeah, that's right. That's correct. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Now, ma'am, you have your own family now. So, what do you think are the values that bind families?
Yes. Oh, okay. To answer that again, I would have to quote. I do not have to go far because my idol, the one I look up to my whole life, is my mother. So, dalawa yung pinaka-importanting values na iniwan niya sa amin. And these are two things that I would like to share with everybody. Okay, first off, the fact that, remember, Ninoy Aquino, the great Ninoy Aquino, left us with every Filipino is worth dying for, right?
Yes.
We all know that. Every Filipino should know that, or we know that. But my mother twisted that and she turned it into something like this. This is her mantra. Every Filipino child is worth living for. That's her. I heard that from her, and yes. Instead of dying, she twisted it and she turned it into something positive, and she said, that's what she has been telling everybody, especially us, her children, and all her children in the education world, that every Filipino is worth living for. So that's the first. And Sir Claude, the second is trying to remember. Oh, okay. My mother came from a family of orphans. I did not dwell into that anymore because we only have 1 hour. Sabi ko nga, ma'am, kay Sir Claude, when we were talking casually last night or the other night during operations, I was telling him, ma'am, yung buhay ng aking ina ay pang MMK. So, lengthy history. Yan, lalo na kasi I'm a history major. So, I do not want to specify on those, but to tackle on that particular question that you gave me, Sir Claude, the values that have been strengthening us. So I mentioned the first one, and then the second one is the fact that she came from a poor family. For her, poverty is never an obstacle. Poverty is never a hindrance to achieving one's goals in life. Yun ang lagi niyang sinasabi. Hindi dahilan ang kahirapan para makamtan mo ang iyong nais makamtan sa buhay, yung goal mo. So yun ang lagi niyang sinasabi, yung dalawang yun. Every Filipino child is worth living for, and that poverty is never an obstacle or hindrance because she came from a very poor family and she's away. Masasabi naman po na napakarami niya pong nakamtan, hindi lang pong tangibly or physical na bagay, kundi marami po siyang na ipamana, hindi lang sa aming pamilya, kundi actually sa edukasyon, sa kagawaran, na I'm proud to say kahit papaano yun. So did that answer your question, Sir Claude?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, it did, and maganda po na na-mention ninyo. You mentioned it in passing, but when we did talk, you mentioned to me the very humble beginnings of your mom and her siblings, and she is a living example of, rising through the ranks and not allowing your poverty or your difficult circumstances to limit you in life. So maganda po na i-share ninyo sa amin yan ngayong gabi, and for sure po with knowing her story and the story of her siblings, I'm sure that inspired you into the person that you are, also commendable and impressive with your achievements and all. So it's great that those values and traditions have been passed on to you and your siblings po, no ma'am?
Yes po, I believe so, yes. At, if it's, establishment is one thing, sustaining is another. So may I share naman po the values of how we sustain. Yeah. Kasi ibang usapan yung pag-build, yung pag-establish. Ibang usapan yung how we sustain it. Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be only to entrepreneurship or only to the world of education. Actually, sa buong iba-ibang industriya, lahat na naienkwentro natin, naiwing that. So, another set of values for sustaining whatever it is that holds, whether a business or a family, is sa amin pong ito bilang ako lang, sa amin po, the key is consistency. How we sustain it. Consistency. Whatever formula that has worked. Parang sa lutuin, di ba last time your show was about cooking. It's just like, the secret ingredients. Yes, sa baking, sa cooking. More than the secret ingredients of stuff, whatever it is mas importante rin yung patuloy yun, to be consistent, kasi kung paiba-iba yung pamamaraan, hindi natin ma-achieve yung whatever it is that we need to achieve or we want to see. Okay? Lalo na sa first generation ng builders ng isang industriya. Okay? And then sa pangalawa, yung nagbigay ng pamana. So, our values, sustenance value ba matatawag, or the value of how it is sustained is consistency lang po. Tuloy-tuloy lang po. And kung ano yung mainam na natutunan, gawin lang on a consistent habit-forming consistency. Passing it on to our next slide with much passion ever before, habit-forming consistency.
Yeah.
Evelyn?
Is it, yeah.
Family tradition.
Yeah. So, Rovil,
yes,
are you saying that there are say, for example, trends or values that have been identified as values that really bring together families, no? Whether it is your family or family.
Yes, indeed, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, there are sets of values which are passed on from generation to generation consistently, no? Like, say, for example, trusting, supporting,
yes,
ganun ba yun? Talagang merong mga sets of values.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Would you like to share with us?
Because when you were inviting, come again, ma'am. You were saying something about. You were asking me about
the sets of values which are passed on from one generation to another generation among the members of the family. As you said, they're consistently followed by the different generations. Like siguro, no, respect for the elders, consistently yon, napapass on from one generation to another, and we are able to observe that. I think that's very common about the Filipino family.
That's true.
Tama ba? Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. And yes, ma'am. I would like to add specific, generalized lang yung aking pag-relay. This one, I would like now to mention the specified. I would like to share 4 specific values that bind bind us as a family.
Mhm.
These are the things that I learned not only from my mother but from my aunt, our nanay Nena. Okay, pero the first three of the four are from my mother, and the fourth one is from nanay Nena. Si nanay Nena po kasi yung panganay nila na, di ba, orphan sila. She's she's the bastion, the post, siya yung haligi ng kanilang magkakapatid na mga orphans. Kaya sila nabuhay ng maayos at nakapagtapos ng pag-aaral. First is courtesy. Yan.
Oh,
Inano ko lang, CCIK. Courtesy. Second, courage. I, independence. And K is keeping the faith. Okay. Courtesy and basic ways. Save you. Yan, lagi nilang sinasabi sa amin. Courtesy. Good manners and right conduct. Kindness, always kind in the past. Just like the song of Jewel. And kindness matters. You know, that's the first. Kahit saang bagay, you know, but, okay, before I go to the second value, it doesn't mean, sinasabi ni Mama, hindi ibig sabihin na polite ka, courteous ka, mahina ka na. It doesn't mean that if you are polite, you are weak. That it is not polite. Being polite and GMRC is not synonymous to weakness, you know, and meekness. It's not. So the second value niya ay ang courage and resolve and strength of character. Yan. To the point being offensive po. Yun. Kasi you can show strength in character. Yun, laging inaano ni Mama. Strength of character can be shown without offending anybody. So, it's a balance. It's a good balance of GMRC, of politeness, and, you know, strength in character, which I pass on to the schools that we handle. Always, yan. So that's the second. And the third, ito combine sila, si Nanay Nena at saka si Mama ko, lagi na about independence. This is the third, independence. Okay. Lagi na lang sinasabi when we were little. Nung maliliit kami at malapit na maghapunan, at makikita nila kami sa next, sometimes, you know, a kid like me, a kid of 6 or my 5 years old, our cousins are so loving that they invite us to eat with them sa dinner table nila, yung ganon. Ayaw na Nanay Nena at saka ni Mama. Maliit pa lang kami, sinasabi nila na wag kayong mangi-istorbo, wag kayong manghihingi. Ayaw nila yon. So, what they're trying to tell us is the independence and, you know, never to depend on anybody else unless exhausted all our resources, you know, all remedies, exhaustion of all remedies muna bago humingi ng tulong sa very independent si Nanay at saka ni Mama. Yun.
Yeah.
And the fourth po is keeping the faith of God.
Oh, yes. I think keeping the faith, Rovil, no?
Yes,
will
ma'am.
really bind families together. Tama? Keeping the faith,
Yes.
praying together will always bring families together.
Yes.
Praying together,
Yes.
working together. Yeah.
Very true,
You know,
ma'am.
there are some
fourth na value na.
families. Yeah. There are some families that really work together in a corporation, in coming up with their business, for example. And
Yes.
so I know of an enterprise, no, which is 100 years old na, this 2020. That's, I think, Corona. Yung, alam mo ba yung notebook?
That's true,
na
ma'am.
napakaganda. Oo. Yung notebook na yan na Corona na kung saan tayo nag-note.
Yes, ma'am.
I use that. So, nung
Naku,
1920
ma'am.
pa yan. Tapos
Correct.
pass on from one generation to generation. So, I think working together, praying together, sharing the same
100
values,
years. 100
sharing
years
the
na
same
siya.
beliefs. Oo. Tama yun, ano? Yan, ang tawag ba dyan? Rovil Heritage
Opo.
din.
I learned about
yes, it's true. And I think those people who are
Yes, ma'am.
in a family enterprise, they probably really share with one another certain values,
Yes.
like trust, like confidence,
ma'am.
support with one
That's true.
another, cooperation. Do you believe, Claude, that is, do you agree with me, Claude?
Ma'am, I'm glad to hear that because I remember some years back, an acquaintance of mine, much older than me, she has a family and she said explicitly, do not involve family members in a business venture because that will result in the family members taking each other for granted or taking advantage of each other. But in the case of Corona, that does not apply to them because ayun pala ma'am, kayo rin pala gamit niyo yung Corona dati pa. They didn't know na Corona has been around for that long. So it just means na it's been handled very well as a family corporation or business because it continues to be around. So yung narinig kong yun, maybe it doesn't apply to all family-owned businesses. Baka depende. And Corona is an example of a family business na nagsa-thrive, nagsasucceed.
Oy, ang alam ko third generation na yan, ang nag-handle na yan.
Yes.
Well, anyway, at
Yes,
kulang na tayo sa oras. So, kulang na tayo sa oras. Rovil, would you like to give us your message to the viewers?
Oh, okay. Well, in relation to Corona, first of all, I want to congratulate.
No. In relation to the family heritage, yes. Would you like to give us your message to our viewers in connection with family heritage?
Yes. Yes. Well, in relation to family heritage and establishing whatever it is, whether it's an enterprise, a family enterprise, or simply family building, and passing on to the next generation the values that they hold dear that would help the next generation. Okay, for me, there are. I just would like to distinguish the three kinds of generation. Well, according to management theory, is the builder, the pioneering. Walang problema doon kasi the first generation builds the business. Okay. The second generation enhances, modifies, make it better. Always yan. It's a foolproof na ganon. That's the case. But the generation, ma'am and sir, nakakatalo sa third gen, yung mga apo na level. Kasi I'm thinking then not only of Corona but all other family, not only a business but an endeavor. Okay. Or advocacies. Kasi yung third, usually sinasabi, according to management theory, it breaks the business kapag wala nung sincerity, transparency, cooperation, and all other values. But it is so admirable to find a business like Corona and all other, hindi lang naman sila, marami tayong mga Filipino families na gano'n na kahanga-hanga po. I am so impressed with a family heritage business like Corona. The business has, had or preserved the integrity and even has helped it rise into a higher level of, not only grandeur but success basically.
Thank
Kaya,
you.
I just wanted
so much,
to express lang din po na a family heritage transcends na into a Filipino legacy. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Rovil.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes.
So yun lang po. Nakakatuwa lang po na ma-share.
Yes, maraming salamat, Rovil. Claude, would you like to...
Yeah, we thank you very much, Ms. Rovil, for being with us tonight. So also we'd like to thank the College of Education.
And of course,
College of Education Alumni Foundation and the Corona Supplies Incorporated. And ma'am?
And of course, I'd like to thank, of course, the Atelier Alumni Association. And bago tayo mag-end, gusto kong batiin si Dean Pilar Romero ng College of Education of the University of Santo Tomas. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
many more wonderful years din, Pilar. Maraming salamat. And of course, gusto ko ring batiin yung mga nakikinig sa atin, lalo na si Marilyn Cano. Maraming salamat, Marilyn, sa pakikinig, si Ida. Maraming salamat. And of course, I'd like to invite everyone to join us in our next episode. And our topic is When a Child is Born. Ang ating kilalang-kilala ang ating guest speaker, si Dr. Minerva Kalimag, ay napakagaling na doktor. Claude?
That's for next week. At this point, we would like to
Yes.
thank everybody for joining us this evening. We'd like to remind you that here on Bridges, we do not build walls, we build connections of learning. We build knowledge.
And definitely here at CBRC, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat, those of you who joined us this evening. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Goodbye.